Yeah, no respect in every aspect to the man like Mark. I love how the man talk on the radio. In case you never know. You call that radio, call that the radio. You call that radio, call that the radio. Come and say, in my name, I'll just go with the flow. In my name, I'll just go with the flow. So till you miss a mark, now go bend down low. Till you miss a mark, now go bend down low. Boom. Lot of mercy. Yo. You call that radio. You call that radio.
Good evening. Happy Friday, guys. It's been a while since I've done a Friday evening one, and it's an absolute honour to welcome the legendary Steve Duffield onto the show tonight. We're going to be talking about his career and his new stuff, so buzzing for it. And yeah, we've both got gigs tonight, so we thought we'd start a little bit earlier than normal. So I know that if you're just joining us after the fact, then welcome to the show. But yeah, I think we can go live to Steve right now. Steve, how you doing, mate?
Good, very good.
I was going to say live from Portsmouth. Is that accurate? Are you in Portsmouth?
It is, absolutely. Yeah. Back home.
Sorry, mate?
Back home for me.
Amazing. And you're going to a gig tonight, man. Is this the first time you've been back out watching a gig, or have you...
No, I've seen a couple. Went to a festival. There was a festival in Portsmouth, Victorious, where we went, which was a good time. And it was daunting at the beginning of going, and we got there quite early on a Friday, and there wasn't too many, and it felt quite comfortable. And then it just got rammed, and it did feel a bit uncomfortable. But tonight, it's a small venue. It should be. The thing is you just forget about the last 2 years quite quickly when you're at a gig, which is good.
Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, it's. I suppose it's been. There was no quite moment, like, I think the way that we all imagined the lockdown being over, and then there's just been like a celebration, but there was obviously quite a lot of steps, like getting, a garden gig, a gig outside, a bit of live music, and then like. Slowly but surely, a sit-down gig where people had to sit down, and then, but yeah, the last month it's been great to see a couple of festivals and see some live music. And you said you played a gig with with the Milton Underground Resistance. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's a new project that we're doing. There's a couple of the Pete, who used to be in the Janitors with me in the Rems, and Simon Holiday, who's he's got a long, illustrious history of music, his own music. He was in the band called The Unbelievers. He's a sound guy, works with Stereo Lab and during breaks at the moment. And so it was as everyone's doing at the moment, it's sort of a bit of a lockdown project, and we did just some demos in the back room, and there's something about them which people seem to like. So we just released them, even though it's an electronic kit. It doesn't sound great, but I don't know. They got quite a nice raw feel to them. So we were persuaded by our local guy from Shambotic Records to put them out, and in fact he's ended up joining the band as well, along with Matt. So it's a bit of a collective, really, but it's good fun. So and we did our first gig at the end of the pier, on this platform at the end of Portsmouth Pier out in the sea. So we couldn't have been safer, really. But it's good. It was good fun.
So you said he's in, sorry, did you say Stereo Lab and Touring Breaks?
Yeah. So he does their sound for them. So he's out and about at the moment doing that. So it's, as with everything to do with bands, it's always a logistic nightmare getting everyone together to rehearse. And
that was before pandemics and lockdowns and all the other things. Yeah, I mean, touring is obviously, it is quite a difficult. We played our first gig back at Lindisfarne Festival. Yeah. And the 2 days before it, we found out that our drummer had tested positive. He was absolutely fine. He didn't get any symptoms, but obviously couldn't do the gig. So we had to get a last minute drummer in.
Yeah.
And it was a wee bit of extra stress, but it was good though, because I'm glad we did do it. Because we were on a festival at 8 o'clock at Thursday night, and you know, it was a lot of people from the northeast and Scotland invaded it as well. So
Yeah.
I'm glad we did it, and also we're one of the first bands anyone seen of the weekend. It'd been a bit scarier going on a Sunday after a bunch of slick bands before us, but I think for a lot of people, you know, they hadn't seen so much music before. But that's awesome, man. I'm a massive fan of Stereolab. That's one of my favourite bands. So amazing to hear that.
Yeah,
man.
yeah. I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, he goes off and does sound. I think that he had a bit of a break from doing that when I think they went to America and he couldn't go. But yeah, I think he's been out and about with them recently. But it means that when he's off touring with them, then he's not about to do singing duties with us. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to finally sort of. I mean, he's a really close friend of our drummer. They've been knocking about since they were kids together. So getting together and doing some songs with them, it's been great fun. Much better than we thought it was going to be.
And with regards to you, I know that you were supposed to be touring with Steve Mason's King Biscuit Time project as well. So just to recap on that, the way I remember it was booked, then it was rescheduled in a couple of times because obviously everybody just thought, I think for a while everything just got rescheduled by about a month or two back, and then it seems like Steve's now sort of looking at new material now instead, rather than looking back to the King Biscuit Time stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he was going to do that with Pete Rankin and Colin, the original, you know, the guys who he originally did it with, and yeah, had it all planned to go, and I think that obviously it kept on getting put back, and then he's started writing new material, and yeah, definitely Steve's not one. When he focuses, when he's doing new stuff, and I mean, generally he never really likes going back and really revisiting stuff. Anyway, I mean, he is always going forward. Is the motto we scrawled on the front of our dinghy on a tour where we played every night in a dinghy, and I mean that's very much. I think that he right. While he's still knocking out the tunes, I think it's always the idea of focusing on that. And I think that once he started down that path of working on a new album, it was very difficult then, mentally to switch back and because it was like Black Gold as well, which wouldn't be an easy thing to do without 100% focus. It's an amazing album, and it's a shame. I myself would love to have seen the whole thing being done live, but perhaps one day. But at the moment, I think he's fully focused on the new stuff. So,
well, I mean, I suppose that it must be because the temptation that a lot of bands have is to sort of play those classics, because obviously the people want to hear the classics, but then you obviously don't want to be a nostalgia band. So I know that I think every time I've seen you guys play together, it's pretty much been the new album and maybe a couple of other solo stuff. But it was brilliant just as a fan of the older material to see you down at the Barbican, is it? Sorry, London.
Yeah.
I know it's a massive, successful, big venue, but I just see it written down because I'm not obviously a bit further north than that. But just to hearing that with a kind of orchestra backing, to hear the likes of Dry the Rain and stuff like that. Was it fun for you to play those songs?
Yeah, I mean, especially for me, because obviously, because I'm sort of missed out on it the first time round. So after I did champion versions and things like that, and then obviously went my own way for a few years, and then to have the opportunity to go back and play them songs, with orchestration, with a brass section, with amazing backing singers, these fantastic musicians in a brilliant venue. It was, and it was a real, I think it was a couple of hours we played for with an intermission, and yeah, it was, absolutely amazing. I was completely out of my depth that I normally am with all of these amazing guys around me, and having Joe Didell came and did the he worked out all of the orchestration and things like that, and then just before we went on stage, we were stood backstage waiting to go on, and he came up and handed me a big wad of sheet music and said, we've made a few changes. And I just looked at him. Obviously, I can't read a note of music or anything. And then I see Steve off in the background laughing his head off. Obviously, they set me up, and he said, "Yeah, go and tell Bodge he's got some. We've made some changes to the bass line." But it was it was amazing. It was a really brilliant night, and it's just, in a way, because of the work we put into that, it's a shame that it was just one night. It'd have been great to sort of just. It'd have been great to come up to Glasgow and Newcastle and Liverpool and places where we normally do well, and so hopefully perhaps one day I saw Joe down in Victorious. I can't remember who he was with, someone down there, and he said he would love to do that as well again at some point. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. It was an amazing thing, and I think it was recorded. Is it a DVD now, or is it? Because it was recorded, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And the funny thing is, it was done on I'm going to get this wrong, a VR platform. So we had cameras all over the place where, so you can Melody VR is on, and you can watch it like on your phone or with a headset on. But the amazing thing is you can actually stand in different positions and look round. So with a headset on, there's a position just stood next to me, and so it's so bizarre because the people at Melody VR, they were really kind, and they sent me. I had no equipment to watch it on, so they sent me a VR headset to watch it on, and I could stand next to myself, watching myself play, and then looking around throughout the gig, and it is an amazing way to enjoy a gig. And the sound quality is pretty good. So I know that they did record it, and at one stage, so they sent the files through to Steve. But it was obviously, with all of this orchestration and that, it was absolutely huge. And I think it's a big project for someone to sort of make a sort of a listenable mix. Although saying that, just the stereo mix on the VR show is great anyway. So but hopefully again, I don't know whether it is going to come out in any type of release, but I hope so because it was amazing.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. I've not actually had a shot of VR as well since many years ago, and I've been people are telling me that it's totally up this game in the last 20 years of technology. I'm sure it is. So just on that point, so it was like. So you've with the champion versions, and you've made that. Why did you decide not to go and tour it with the rest of the band and stuff like that?
To be honest, I don't really know. I often talk with Steve. I remember the conversation. So we went and did this. I must admit, it was a strange time in my life. I'd been away with another. So me and Steve used to play in a band called Knave. And he was a drummer, and I was a bass player in that band, sort of like a mob band in London. And he was writing tunes then, and they weren't keen to do them, unfortunately. And so, he left to start a project with writing with Gordon. So we were, mucking around, sort of just going through tunes in Steve's bedroom, and then obviously, and I'd gone away to Israel and was playing in Tel Aviv, and the funny thing is my uncle is Palestinian, and he's passed away now. But before I went, he said to me, go there and just take a look at the history that's going on as you speak. Go and visit everything. And he told me all the places to go and look at. Obviously, from a political point of view. Being Palestinian, he was his family were exiled to Jordan, so he's very interested for me to go there. But of course, what happened? We just went there, and I just met a girl who gave me loads of drugs, and I didn't do anything. And I was there for 2 weeks, and I just got absolutely blasted, and then came back, and then immediately, the day after, we went in the studio to do champion versions, and. The whole thing is very. It sounds very hazy, and it definitely was. It really was. It was a very, disconnected time in my life.
So so you're going into the studio to record it? Had you already been playing? Have you been playing those songs for a while before you went to the studio? Or?
Yeah, so we had got together. So we were really lucky. So obviously, I didn't have much idea of what was going on, and like I say, so none of us had any money. So Steve, at that point, Gordon had sort of departed. Obviously he'd gone off on his diversions that Gordon does, and so Steve had obviously got together with John and Robin, and we were rehearsing. They'd obviously sent the demos off, and Regal Parlophone had got interested, and so we'd gone, and luckily we had the Verbs. The Verve had just done Urban Hymns, and we were given sort of their rehearsal space to go and sort of have a go at getting some stuff together. And of course, Steve was a drummer who was singing, playing guitar, and Robin and John hadn't played really in bands before and everything. So, but I think that's why it was so brilliant, and it was just a ramshackle attempt at trying to get some tunes together, and then going in the studio and just trying to make it all work in a day. I think, well, I was only there for a day. No, I know. I think I was probably there a couple of days thinking. I don't really know, but it was just, it was what it sounds like, this sort of ramshackle, lolloping sort of mess, which just was quite an amazing thing to do at the time. And then we carried on just doing our own things, and the business side of it all developed and things like that. And I just became more distant from doing anything of any sense at all. And I remember Steve phoning me up and sort of saying, are you going to do this? Do you want to actually do this or not? And it just as easy as I could have said yes, I just said no. I don't really know why to this day. And and then they obviously had to go off and find someone else to do it. So luckily they got Richard, who's a great bass player. Funnily enough, from Portsmouth as well. I don't know whether they purposely went back to Portsmouth to find another bass player. But so they carried on, and so I did do King Biscuit Time EP with Steve during that period, the No Style EP, and which was amazing. And and then obviously all these years later, about 10 years ago, and Steve asked me if I wanted to come and play in his band again. So having the opportunity then to go and play those songs for the first time live was amazing for me. Yeah, I mean, he phoned me up at that time and said we need someone really cheap, so we bought.
You're saying Jordan. It's quite interesting you were in Jordan. I went to Jordan just before lockdown started, which I'm really grateful for, because it's obviously been I don't see myself going on holiday anytime soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was such an amazing place. So you just said you didn't really get a
No, actually, I didn't end up going to Jordan. I mean, my uncle was from Jordan. He was but I got the television. I did go to a couple of places, but I just don't remember much about it at all. And I didn't do any of the things that I'd promised my uncle I would do. And our guitarist got arrested and. For because there was a bomb went off while we were there, and it was quite. We had no idea I didn't even know where. I'd like to think I'm a little bit more sophisticated now, but when we got there, I never knew where I was on the planet. I just didn't have any idea. We just flew out, and I was sat on the beach on New Year's Day, I think it was, and I could have been. I didn't know whether I was in Africa or I had no idea.
Well, it's funny seeing yours. We travelled in Hogmanay, so we ended up in like a cave party on New Year's Day, and even doing the journey, it was still very strange, like jumping in a van and driving through the desert for 40 minutes in the dark. So even though I was present and aware of the maps, it was still an amazing experience, man. And so I've got what I was going to do just now is for people who aren't familiar with your music, man. I thought I would line up your new single.
All right.
So just so people can hear it and let us know what they think about it. Also, hello, hola says Christine's in the house. Hello, Paul says evening, Steve. Just getting ready for the Cadets gig.
I'll see you in a minute.
You actually got as well, right? Cool. And looking at sounding good, mate. See you later, Paul and Annette. are tuned in as well. So let's talk about we'll play the new single, man. What's brought this right? Is this part of a bigger project?
No, obviously, funny, do you know, again, this is something I did about 6 months, a year ago, and it's just a recording that I did in my house, and with no idea of actually releasing it or doing anything with it. And I have recorded stuff in the past. I like most people, I hate hearing my voice and I cringe, and I'm not a great singer. Again, you know, a couple of people said, no, it's okay, just put it out and see how you feel about it and see what people think. And I'd like to expand it into a bigger project if I can, and see how it goes and whether I can actually do anything else.
You've got a fantastic voice, man. I'm sure people didn't say it's okay. It's absolutely brilliant. And
right,
Mako's in the house, Will. Hello, Mako. I really, really enjoyed it, man. And let the people hear it. So this is Blood Flows. It's available on Spotify, YouTube, all that kind of place. It's on Bandcamp or stuff, or iTunes for people to download it.
Yeah, not yet. I'll probably stick on Bandcamp soon. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Nice one. Okay, this is Blood Flows. Let us know what you think, guys.
Southwest 7 to severe gale 9, veering west, gale 8 to storm 10, squally thundery showers.
I got you. Yeah, he's 1 2. 1 2. Yo, this is Charlie Tuna from Jurassic 5 live and direct here in Glasgow, Scotland, and you call that radio?
Upon you, we are here to tell the people that we hear you. One God will not allow us as people of conscience to lose our morale. We see the crimes of this government, how they support every dictator and criminal on this earth. Sometimes you can feel down. Sometimes you're
It's Call That Radio TV. We are live from Portsmouth with the legendary Steve Duffield, aka Bodge.
Yeah.
Where does that nickname come from?
Well, apparently, because I always presumed that it was from the fact that while we were touring in Knave, we used sort of all this original 60s equipment and including a Hammond organ, which would break down all the time. So, and I used to be continually trying to fix it mid-gig, wiggling around with all the electronics in it, in the back of it, just to get it going, and would regularly get electrocuted. However, when we were doing a BBC Six Music show, Steve tells a story of when we first met, and we went to a studio in London and to rehearse, and it was the first time when we were with Knave, and I got there and didn't have a bass. I don't know what I thought I was going to do, but and I remember I found one wedged behind the back of a fruit machine in the studio, and so I got it out, and it didn't have any pegs for didn't have any pegs for the strap peg things on it, and I just got a hammer and off the studio guy and just nailed the strap to it, and this Fender Precision bass, and got called Bodge from then on. But I don't remember that, but that's Steve's recollection anyway.
Well, that happened to Joe actually once going to a festival at Kilburn, and we just had no bass. I didn't realise until about 20 minutes before we went on stage, and look, we just put the word out. The first bass that came back was a tiny, those little tiny ukulele bass type things. Brilliant. With rubber strings. Yeah. So thankfully, somebody else came in and saved the day with the opposite, a gigantic bass, but it did the job. It did the job perfectly. Yeah. But,
the funny thing is, every picture I see of me throughout the years from playing, since the 80s. I'm never playing the same bass. I must have borrowed a bass nearly every gig I played, because half of them I don't remember ever owning. So I must have done.
That's what Facebook memories is like for me. Yeah. It's like, what happened to that jacket?
Yeah,
I went through jackets, left them
what happened
somewhere.
To that hair?
What happened to the beard? Actually, what happened to the beard, man?
That was my daughter. I would often sort of say to her, I'm going to, I was at home, I said, I'm going to shave my beard off, because I had it for years. And then one day she said to me, yeah, Dad, you always say that. And so I thought, I'm going to go and do it. So I just chopped it all off. And then I went and knocked on her door and said, Mildred, come out. And she looked at me and said, I don't like it. So yeah, there is another sort of 3 years growing it back. So I've only reached the point. I liked having a beard, but it's the transition between not having one and having one, which is really horrible.
I'm trying to find a picture of the beard. Yeah, because it got really long, didn't it? But I think I've got one here.
Yeah.
You can tell me what stage of the beard's journey this was. Let's see. So got this one. I think it got longer than that. But let's see here.
Oh right, yeah. With Danny, yeah. It did get long. I mean, but the trouble is then you just become the beard. That becomes your identity. And like at work, they call me seasick, and and it's just ZZ Top all the time and things like that. And although I do remember sort of saying to Elliot, our guitarist at the time, you need a gimmick. When you get old, and you're not, you need something for people to remember you by.
With the hat. I've got a friend called John the Hat.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I mean, I think it feels to me like that's the kind of name that you get to give yourself.
Yeah,
and all you need to do is just wear a hat. Oh, just call me John the Hat.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was his name. Mark McInnes is late. Yeah, poor Mark McInnes. He's used to the 7 o'clock start, mate.
Aye.
We threw everyone off because both Steve and me have got a gig on tonight, so we started a little bit earlier, so we didn't cut off too early. But yeah, but so the gig tonight. Let's talk a little bit about that. So this is your band's side project or new project?
No, so this is the other.
So what's happening tonight?
Yeah, so there's the guy. I used to be in a band called the Rems. Well, I used to be in a band called Mild Mannered Janitors, and so it's two of the guys from the Mild Mannered Janitors, Pete and Steve, the singer, and he was a guitarist, but now the drummer for them. So they've got another band called the Lonely Hearts. They've just started, so this is going to be their first gig. So I'm going down to give them a bit of support. I'm supporting the Corrects tonight. Yeah, so I mean, it's that normal thing with a sort of a small town where everybody just continually starts new bands and swaps. It's just a pool of musicians who just start doing different projects. And I mean, you know, and I left it. I went and lived in France for 6 years and then went to London for 6 years and didn't really do much music at that point when my daughter was born. But you know, coming back and it's just a continual sort of just mixing things up a little bit. But these guys, I think the one, you know, the Lonely Hearts, Carly's playing bass and she's great, and but it's her first gig playing bass, so she's really nervous. But I think they're going to, and Shane, the singer, he's a guy, he's a bit of a legendary Portsmouth character. He does like, he does Elvis impersonations. He's absolutely brilliant, but he's just an amazing singer, an amazing guy in himself. But he's never really had the recognition he deserves. So, but this band, I think they're going to have these beautiful 3-part harmonies, sort of Beatlesy but harder edge Beatles pop type stuff. But yeah, I think they're going to be great. So I'm really interested to go and see them. They just recorded an album, which hopefully be out soon. So yeah, good.
And so it's where's good for a gig in Portsmouth? Because we've nearly went to Portsmouth, but it's quite far away.
Yeah,
yeah, it's quite. I mean, how far are we talking? It was pretty much as far away as you can go.
It's about as far south as you can go. I mean, you can go further south if you go down to like Cornwall and things like that. Mm-hmm. But if you went straight in a straight line down the middle of the country, you'd end up in Portsmouth. Well, you could go to get the ferry to the Isle of Wight, but if you go past that, you're in France. So Portsmouth is an island itself, and it has an island mentality. In generally, but if you're from, I mean, Steve gets a bit annoyed with the Portsmouth mentality. He said that nowhere, he's been even legendary places which are people love their cities they come from, but he said there's no one for, you know, Portsmouth people, you know, it's a love-hate, as most people are from their hometowns, but it's you feel very much, it's because you're an island, it's a very much island mentality, and you know, it's
you look across to France basically.
Well, if the Isle of Wight wasn't in the way, yeah. If we got rid of the Isle of Wight,
that bloody Isle of Wight wasn't,
and you had really good eyesight.
So is that? Do you think that's part of the reason that you decided to go to France? What was the reason behind moving away to France? Is it just sort of like that seems like far away but close?
Yeah, to a certain extent, and it was the idea of getting away from the lifestyle a bit. You know, I wanted to have a family, and you know, it was chaos being in a band when you've got no money. So you know, I was thinking, I think, you know, one of my pals, Pat Murray, and
he's been on the show before.
Yeah, and he's great. And we were in a cracking band together called the High 45. It's a very short-lived but high energy time. And yeah, and but I remember, because obviously, like most people our age, when the idea of being in a band when you're younger was just being on the dole. So it was a luxury of being able to sign on and concentrate on being in the band without too much hassle. But we used to go and sign on together, me and Pat, and you know him, he's a bit of a rocker, you know, and he lives the life. And I remember we had like a job club thing where you go in and have an interview and that, and he came out, he went in first, and he come out and he was like white and shaking, and I was going, "What's wrong, Pat?" He's going, "They found me a job." And that was the attitude. The worst thing that you could possibly happen to you is actually for them to find you a job, so you couldn't just carry on doing your music and that. So, but yeah, it didn't last. I don't think he lasted. I can't imagine him lasting more than 5 minutes in any job. So.
Yeah, well, he was on the show. I think we did a tribute night for the very Reverend Dwayne Love and Jake Black, and he was on. We had lots of people on that night telling all sorts of stories. So it's
good. I mean, it's good. I met Jake through Pat, and just talking, and Pat's one of them people. He does, he has this. He's a very charming guy. And people, sometimes they get him wrong, and because he's in your face and he's larger than life, but he's really clever and he's really lovely and loving. I mean, we don't see eye to eye on everything. He calls me a commie. He calls me blue coat commie, whatever that means, and says that I'm going to make everyone wear blue jackets. But I tell him I'm an anarchist. I'm not a communist. But he's a good. Yeah, he's been a constant. From when we were really young, and he used to sleep on our settee and drink his sherry. Yeah.
A sherry. That's a very civilized drink too.
Not at 9 o'clock in the morning. Is it? It's the equivalent of Bucky down there. Yeah.
Is it so? With regards to the other projects that you've had to go, because I was trying to put in brackets Steve Duffield. I was trying to get all the bands and all the projects you've been in, but it's impossible to fit it into brackets for a live stream. But we were talking just before we went on air about the Professor Yaffle. So before we go any further, can we just have a quick dive into your bio, where it started and where you're at now? Could you think you could do it off the top of your head?
Well, yeah. So obviously it started. There was a band called the Magic Roundabout, which was the first proper band I was in, and then me and the singer and got together with a few other people and started the first proper band that we did, which was the Mild Mannered Janitors. And we sort of did that for a few years. Went to Germany. That was our first time touring and going abroad, and signed to a German label and did an album, Innocence. And we offered some good stuff, but like those things, other commitments come into it. And our singer got married and had a decent job, so he couldn't do it. So that sort of split up. And I sort of went. That's when I went off and eventually ended up back in London, and that's when we did a Janitors reunion show and supporting the prisoners, so training, which has turned into this legendary gig, but it was really good. And these guys from this mob band saw me and they knew Steve from other bands, so they sort of asked us whether we join their band, and that's how I met Steve. He was drumming for them, did that for a few years, and then obviously there was all the Beta Band, King Biscuit Time stuff. And then I went away, then moved to France, had my daughter, and come back to London. Was working as a security guard, and Steve asked me to do some music again. So I came back when he was touring Monkey Minds and Devil's Time. So we did that, and then obviously got involved with the recording of Meet the Humans and About the Light. But back at home, we did the Rems, which was like me and a couple of the guys from the Janitors, which was like a sort of another punk rock, garage sort of rock type of thing. But that again, we fall out of just about daft things, and we don't fall out. We have curry together every week. We're friends, and and I'm in a band again with Pete. But touring, I ended up one night playing in Liverpool and meeting. Our support act was a guy called Nick Ellis, who is an amazing musician and singer, but an amazing guy. Really,
was that the guy who supported you guys with Steve Mason at the SWG3 in Glasgow?
Yeah. No, that was Edgar.
No.
That was Edgar Jones,
right.
Who again is from Liverpool and is amazing. His history. God, he's just. I was watching. He's just done put something on YouTube, Edgar Jones, of just his first rehearsal back with his new band, and he's an amazing bass player, singer, and just watching them their first rehearsal, it's just like this soul classic. It's just amazing. So yeah, go and check. Just do a search for Edgar Jones first rehearsal on YouTube.
I've got him here. I've got it there.
Yeah. But Nick is a guy who is just a very thoughtful, lovely guy, and who's
what was Nick's second
name?
Nick
Ellis. His name is
Nick Ellis. Yeah.
He used to be in a band in the 90s called the Maybes, but and basically I got talking to him, and then just got involved in this. Fell in love with the whole Liverpool music scene, which is just totally amazing, and always been well, not always, but rediscovered this love of Mick and John Head music.
That's what I was going to say. Since you say Liverpool's the first thing that comes into my head is HMS Fable. Which,
That's just, everything either of those brothers has done. It just, superb.
It's non-stop, like just absolute legendary tune after.
But there's an amazing scene at the moment. There's so many great bands in.
She Drew the Gun have been on the show before.
I was supposed to see him last night.
Did it get cancelled?
No, I thought it had been. So I saw the other gigs up.
The Glasgow gig get cancelled. I know a few, about 4 or 5 of them. I think she lost her voice or something, so it was just impossible.
And I just presumed that, being stupid, I didn't check. Just presumed that they weren't doing it, and then didn't go and regret it. But I did see them. They played at Deershed when we played there, and they were amazing. I think she's great, and the 2 albums are really good. The Mysteries, I saw them. They played at Victoria's. They're a great rock band as well. But Professor Yaffle are a band I discovered a few years ago. And at a John Head gig in Liverpool, I saw Lee from Professor Yaffle, and I just went up to him and I said, "Oh yeah, I really like your albums. You do. Yeah, I really like you." And he said, "Yeah," and he knew who I was, and he said to me, "Do you want to play bass?" And for us, on do a guest on a track, and I said, yeah, I could, I'd love to, but I don't think I'm up to it, because they're such good musicians and their bass player's amazing, and I just thought I'm just going to show myself up, but he sent me down some tracks, and I had a go, and they liked it, so they put it out on their album, but it was, often, I just feel, because they're so good as musicians, they're amazing, but Liverpool is just full of them. They're just, I'm doing some stuff. I recorded some stuff with this other, with Greg, this guy who goes by the name of Sun Zoom, and he's just signed to Colorama, and he's got an album out next year. So I recorded a couple of tracks with him, and he's just amazing, multi-instrumentalist, amazing voice. I mean, Edgar's the same, and Matty from the Shipbuilders, and Mel Bowen, and there just seems every time I just discover a new band, someone tells me about them, and they're just all great, and they're all really good guys as well. But that's the thing, they don't just talk it. They're all running. Mel runs a project in Birkenhead, a spider project, which they're all sort of very socially aware. She Drew the Gun, obviously, lyrically. And also another band, I've got to mention, DSM-4. I don't know if you know them.
I don't think so, no.
Yeah. They've done 3 singles so far, working on an album, and just amazing. Just everything that they do.
D for Delta, DSN4.
DSN4, yeah. Yeah, check them out. And I haven't seen them live yet, but I really want to. And but I did see the guy, the singer from them in a shop. Me and my daughter in a shop in Liverpool, and she's going. And he's a big guy, quite imposing, and she's going, "No, I can't talk." And I was going, "Oh no, I can't talk."
Yeah, it just comes up. The first one, Scumbag, and you just see him in the thumbnail.
Scumbag that is their last single. It's great, but Racist Man, the first one that they did, they're just all really good, and there's just something about them. It's sort of like, I don't know, a cross between sort of it's quite theatrical and electronic, and and I don't know, there's just something about it which is quite otherworldly, which I really love. Yeah, it's great.
Amazing. Well, I'm gonna check that out after the show, man. But I'm gonna play. I've lined up the Professor Yaffle tune.
Okay.
We probably won't have to play it all, because it's a big one. So
not
only did they get you guest bass, but they also got you to do a long one. Are all the songs this long?
Well, they do like to sort of. They're great. Again, they're a great band. They're sort of like psychedelic, folky. But Lee writes beautiful songs. He has this great sort of falsetto voice, and again, I love. They've got some YouTube videos of them. There's a couple with Lee and Matty from the Shipbuilders playing with Mick Head in just on this stairwell, just playing some, and it's just joyous, you know. And they're rehearsing before a gig at the Flory, just in the back room, and it's just there's just something about it. Again, it just fills you full of joy, and they're lovely guys, and it's lovely music.
Amazing stuff. Professor Yaffo, a moment of clarity. Let us know what you think in the comments.
You call that radio?
Makes coherent sense.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's too beautiful a song to skip, but
it goes up. There's another whole section at the end of it.
Well, that's what I thought. I said, you know what? I was like, it feels like this could be the end of the song. So let's say,
no, there's a whole another psychedelic sort of freak out at the end. But no, it's great. Yeah, give it a.
Well, people can listen to it in their own time. It's,
and then they got
Professor
two other albums before that, which are amazing as well. Really, really good. So.
Well, I'm definitely going to check them out, man, because I've heard the name before. I think I've maybe heard a song or two here and there before, but I'm actually going to investigate it. So it's always good. I love when people come on and give me new names to check out. So check out
someone else. I don't know. Have you come across a guy, Roy, is a spoken word guy? He's not a poet. He's definitely not a poet, but he does spoken word from Liverpool, PJ, and he is definitely Roy. Yeah, he goes.
Just
Roy, that's just Roy.
I've got it. Okay, Liverpool poet.
On SoundCloud, you can get him on SoundCloud, and he's someone you should definitely talk to. He's an amazing character. He's just again someone you meet, and they quite he's an inspiring guy for the work he does. He works with people who are changing their lives after sort of drug and alcohol addiction, things like that. But he's also he loves his music, and he does these spoken word performances, which are a really fantastic thing to behold. His stories are amazing. So yeah, and he's a great guy to talk to. So yeah, you should definitely get him on.
I've got him. Is his other name PJ Smith? Is that his?
That's him. Yeah.
Okay, I've added him to the watch later thing. So watch Roy or PJ Smith.
Yeah.
Mako was loving that last song. Loved that. Going to check it more. Professor Yaffle.
Brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. And what was that? Hold on, I'm just going to. Do you know I've got Racist Man here? Do you know what? I'll just put that on quickly, just a bit of it, because so that I remember to go back to this, because it looks cool. Let's check this. This is Racist Man.
There's a racist man at the center of the universe, in a big white hood with cut out eyes. He's seeking to control the world, but I don't believe his racist lie. Heaven knows there's a God, and she's grieving, and the rain of the world while America stolen her dreams. There's a racist man at the center of the universe.
Have you heard of a Glasgow band called Mickey Nines?
Yes, only for you, but yeah.
Yeah, aye, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from the role. They're obviously very different. They're obviously very different in their own ways, but I think as it would be good to see them. They would work really well on the same bill, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Sort of a rock and roll, sounds electronic, vocally, yes, topically, yeah. I like that, man. I'm going to check out more of them.
Good.
So they're working on an album just now.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, they put out, like I say, sort of slowly put out the 3 tracks as main tracks, and but all 3 of them I've absolutely loved. Yeah, it's great.
Have you heard a band called Wet Leg?
Yeah.
2 singles.
Yeah.
And
they got a lot of press.
They're playing McCool's next Sunday, which is, it's a small venue. I mean, we'd sell that out, quickly.
Yeah.
It's a very small pub. So it's obviously one of those ones that it was booked a year ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Because the new singles are up to like 2 million plays or whatever.
I don't know whether I think they might be from the Isle of Wight, just across the I don't know where I got that from, but something tells me that might be true.
I couldn't place the accent at all.
No.
Yes, Ella White. Yeah.
Oh right, okay, yeah, and but yeah, they must be connected. They've gone from nothing to.
Yeah, well, I mean that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of they must have been in a band before, or something.
Yeah.
Domino.
I don't know. I haven't actually heard them. I've just heard about them, so I've not heard them yet.
It's well, they've only had 2 singles. The first single is a belter. The second one is decent. It's but yeah, it just came out of nowhere. So I'm assuming that there must have been years of planning or development in the background. But it's Domino. Domino was is Steve not in Domino?
Yeah,
was in Domino?
Yeah, Steve's on. It's a sort of a, what's it called? I can't remember. But it is, Domino. Yeah, it's definitely Domino. But it's another part of it. I can't remember.
Yeah, man. Well, I think I've managed to blag a +1 thanks to Derek at Camglen.
Great.
He's got a +1, so it's one of those ones seeing a band that's way too big on the rise. So I'm excited to see. So that's next Sunday.
Amazing, yeah.
And next Saturday is, of course, Mickey Nines at the Garage. Although I think that Mickey Nines have, to avoid because we've got passports, COVID passports at over 500, so I think that they're capping capacity 499. Which means
and a baby.
Which means there's only 15 tickets left, guys. If anyone's wanting to see Mickey Nines, I think I'm doing a tune with them next Saturday night, then please do that. Also, a wee shout out to the Twistettes gig tomorrow night as well, for anybody who's we've got live from the Pink Hotel. It's the Twistettes. Josephine and Jess have created the stage, so it's a Pink Hotel. Support from Joshua Zero and Rubber Rose, both bands for Leeds, who are playing their first Glasgow shows. And then we're opening up. You call that radio's opening up with Amelia Baylor. Oh, look, it's actually see through it, right? And that makes sense then. Amelia, so you can see through. See if you put your hand the other way. Yeah, there you go. I was wondering why it changed colour. Sometimes it was white, sometimes it was black. So it's Amelia Baylor, Shelto Mel, Rebecca Radical, Jim Lonin, and the special secret guest to be announced. But I can confirm that I'll be doing a song or two as well. Jackal Trades is doing the 220 tune tour, which means I've got to play 2 tunes tonight, 2 tunes tomorrow, 2 nights, 2 venues, 0 smokes. I'm not allowed to smoke.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
already having my first beer just now, and it's making me want to smoke. But
yeah. Keep going, though. Keep going.
I can do it.
You can do it.
I can do this stuff.
Don't forget to check out the Milton Underground Resistance.
Milton Underground Resistance.
Yeah. That's the main.
How do we check out Milton Underground Resistance?
On Spotify. So that's the band I've done with Simon. The chap who he's a childhood friends with our drummer and has always been doing music with the Unbelievers. He's a sound guy for during breaks and Stereo Lab, and he's a great songwriter. And so we just recorded. About you
demo.
About you, that's it. Yeah, that's the one.
I'll line that up. We can finish with that one. Yeah, man. Continue. So I've just got. Yeah.
Lovely, very lovely, simple pop songs, but they're amazing. Yeah.
Amazing, man. So the Milton Underground Resistance on Spotify. What's next for you guys?
We have got a gig, a sort of an amalgamation of the Milton Underground Resistance and the Music Liberation Front of Sweden, which is another project that we do. And we sort of amalgamated we're all really in the same sort of collective of musicians anyway. So we're going to do, I think it's the 4th of November. I think we'll probably just do a couple of songs, just open the show, and a local band from here called Gary Seven, who are a great sort of psychedelic surf instrumental band who are great. Sort of carry on the history of Portsmouth from the Empty Fish onwards. So there's always that going on here.
That name's also got a different connotation up in Glasgow as well, Milton Underground Resistance, because Milton's like a scheme in the north of the city as well.
Yeah.
We had the pleasure of playing it about, I forget about time now. 3 years ago, because obviously the last year and a half didn't count. August before lockdown, we played it. Gyros played with them alongside Kyle Faulkner of The View, and we had a great night there. Shout outs to the Milton, what's it called again? It'll come back to me. but a really good community spirit there, and it was a really good night. So yes, the Milton Underground Resistance. We'll go down a storm down there as well.
Brilliant. That's the place for us to go. Right, we're on our way.
Absolutely, man. And with regards to Steve Mason is working on the new stuff, so we're just going to wait.
Hopefully he's busily. He's in his loft, writing a load more amazing tunes for me not to ruin live.
Stop playing yourself down, man. You're one of the best. You're one of the best, and all the things that you've done. And I'm really looking forward to hearing more.
Yeah, but I am very, very fortunate to have sort of bumped into Steve and the other guys that I've been able to play with over the years. So yeah, it is a pleasure. And it's always, I haven't heard any of the new stuff yet, but it's just so exciting,
Does Steve just keep it under wraps until it's finished, it's ready, kind of thing?
Well, so the last album, no, we worked on it together. We sort of developed the songs together, but previously, sometimes he just sends me the album, and he removes his bass lines and just says, if I can come up with something better, he'll use mine, and if I don't, then we use his.
That's quite an interesting way of doing it. Do you ever play a bass line that's pretty much identical to what he had in mind? Because obviously he's doing it and then taking it away. Has there ever been a snap?
Well, do you know what the trouble is because he often says to me, what the hell are you doing? What is that? You're not it's not about you. It's not about your bass. But he is very percussive because he's a drummer. So bass for him is much more percussive. So it can be around the root notes but lots of sort of feel. And so I guess if I go that way, it tends to be more towards what he does. But in my mind, I'm hearing all these other melodies, which is more the way I tend to play loads of counter melodies and things like that. So he has to rein me in. But it is always an amazing treat to hear those songs first time. And, songs like Planet Sizes and Hardly Go Through and, Fox on a Rooftop and things like that, they're just...
absolute tunes.
So people talk about the Beta Band, but I mean, Steve's tunes he's written over the last few years are just amazing. So
and it's unusual as well for him. Soul music seems to get better every single album. It just seems to outdo each other as well. So it seems. I'm excited as well to hear. Anything that Steve comes up with as well. So fingers crossed we get to hear that soon.
Yes.
Hopefully the gigs are back.
It
seems like they're back. I mean, it's been a busy month of gigs and festivals up here, and long may it continue. Hopefully we are back for good. To quote Gary Barlow, we're back for good. So we've got that. So solo out, can we expect another solo single from yourself anytime soon?
Yeah, I suppose I better. If and I'll have another go. I'll see what I can do. But it is excruciating for me to go through this process, and I think it is for lots of people, but so I've never sort of taken that step over the precipice, but I have now, so I might as well carry on and see if I can do something else.
Please do check out Blood Flows. It's Steve's new single out now on Spotify and everything. I hope you have a new song for us soon. We're going to finish with Milton Underground Resistance song About You. I think it's a good way to end it. Have a brilliant gig tonight. I'm away to Xbox. And so if you're going to Portsmouth, where have they to go in Portsmouth?
So it's above the Kings. I can't remember what it's called. The Loft, I think, and it's with the Courettes. The Courettes are the main band, and Lonely Heart Support, and that's who I'm going to see.
And if anyone fancies some hip hop, the place to be tonight is the Icebox, and the place to be tomorrow is Room 2 for the Twistettes, and you call that Cabaret.
And I'm looking forward to seeing the Gyro Babies again, so that's going to be...
the Gyro Babies are
always
playing. We're actually playing on November the 12th. It's official.
I know.
Took a while, but I think it's happening. Bad Fractals from London, and Tim Loud, who's a citizen of the world. He's a troubadour, but I think he's in Stoke-on-Trent these days. But he fair gets about, which is sort of heavy metal folk music is the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Yes,
my mate Nick Ellis, he's a troubadour. Citizen of the world.
Citizen of the world. I love that phrase.
Yeah.
Tell us about Just the last thing about you, can you tell us a little bit about the song? What's it about?
I think it's a song Simon wrote a long time ago. It's just really simple. He doesn't, it's like one of them songs, and he did it at rehearsal, and when we were mucking around, and he said, "I don't like it. It's just boring," but it's just got that immediate sort of pop sensibility. It's just like a very, very simple pop song, and he doesn't really enjoy playing at all, but everyone who hears it sort of seems to like it. It's very, it's quite immediate, and it's very simple, and it's completely different from some of the complexity of some of the other music I do. So just to do this is nice. Yeah, it's just lovely pop songs.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Steve. Always a pleasure to chat with you.
And you, really.
Definitely. I think we need to get you on the show again one time. We'll just do a tune each.
Oh yeah,
just play a song each, and we'll share some new music with each other.
Fantastic.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Have a great gig tonight.
And
I'll see you soon.
You take
care.
Bye. Yeah, bye.
Are still moist, where you've been kissing all the boys, and these dreams are making me cry. I just don't know what to do about you. I just don't know what to do about you. I could sigh a little sigh, cry a little cry. I just don't know what to do about you. I could phone you up maybe. You know I must be crazy, but I'll try anything just once. And you say I'm lazy, but my mind's just hazy, 'cause I've been thinking about you for months. I just don't know what to do about you. I just don't know what to do about you. I could sigh a little sigh, cry a little cry. I just don't know what to do about you. Keep on passing, the memory is lasting of you standing right here by my side. And I wait at the station, it's trying my patience, but we didn't get that far down the line. I just don't know what to do about you. I just don't know what to do about you. I could sigh a little sigh, cry a little cry. I just don't know what to do about you. About you, about you,
brothers and sisters.
Is that you, Daniel? Are you before me?
Call that radio.
You call that radio.
Hello? 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 Yes, this is Dog.